Brian Powell of Iron Far here with Max King before the 2015 UltraVasan. How are you, Max?
Good. How are you?
All right. We just both got here in Sweden. It's pretty damn nice.
It is. It's beautiful here. Sun's going down right now, and over the town. Town's really nice. We went for a nice little run out in the woods back here. It's it's really fairly flat, which I expected, but it's beautiful. I mean, the forest is beautiful. The towns are beautiful. And I'm sure the people are too. So that's what I've heard anyway. So,
and the weather is beautiful. Every time I come to Europe to cover a race, it seems like there's shit weather for at least part of the week.
Right. Yeah.
And it's supposed to be.
It's like I look on the weather every day, and it's sun, like a bright sun, and like 72, 73, like every day, like straight through, like
low in the mid 50s.
It doesn't change. It's hilarious. It's like same thing all week. So it's great right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we lucked out this year. Last year I think it was raining and cold.
So it should be a pretty good experience out there. You are good at a wide variety of disciplines. You set the North American 100K record last year. You've won the mountain running championship, so you can handle trail, you can handle road. Could this even be more of a sweet spot?
Yeah, like honestly, like that's why I'm kind of excited about it. It's like a really good sweet spot. It's trail, so you got a little bit of that, but it's going to be really flat. There's not a lot of climbing. I think there's 800 meters of climbing throughout the entire race, and actually it's point to point overall downhill. You lose more elevation than you gain, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been a little while since I've done something this long, so. I don't know exactly what kind of shape I'm in right now after the summer, but I feel like things have been going pretty well, and should be fairly ready for it.
So maybe your performances over the last couple months don't represent your fitness, mountain running championships. Obviously, you were race directing.
I was race directing. I was sick for it. Yeah, was like, I was out the window.
Sonoma wasn't great.
Sonoma wasn't great. I was kind of going into that not as more of a training run anyway, so I knew that I wasn't trying to do well there.
You had a decent run at Chamonix.
Yeah, Mont Blanc. I thought that went really well for me as far as like a big mountain race goes. Like I was finally happy with like a big mountain race, so I was happy with that, and that went well. Obviously, Comrades didn't go that well after 60K. It went well for 60K, and then it didn't. But yeah.
You think you're pretty fit?
I mean, I feel good. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's one of those things with an ultra is like everything can go wrong on race day and everything can go right, and you rely less on your fitness in an ultra race. I feel like at this point, and it just depends on a lot of like how your body feels. Like I can go out and run a hard 5K and know pretty well like what kind of shape I'm in. 100K, like 50K to 100K. It's kind of a crapshoot sometimes. You get out there and if your legs just aren't feeling very good, or the other way around, if they do feel good, they can feel not good on the last half of the race. And so
you might not feel like you have that spark or amp beforehand, and you can get out there and that can actually be good.
It can be a good thing because
mellow out the first half.
Exactly, it mellows you out and you just kind of cruise, and then all of a sudden, like you've been cruising, so you all of a sudden start clicking and feeling good, and then you take off. And so I've never been able to tell before an ultra like how that ultra is gonna go.
Yeah.
So
do you feel pretty comfortable at the sort of 50-mile distance at this point? Like you've enough experience to?
I do. I feel much more comfortable than I did maybe say like a year and a half ago or so. And you have to still respect the distance even on a flat course like this, but yeah, I feel more comfortable. I feel like I've gotten down a pretty good routine as far as nutrition goes. Pacing and all of that stuff, and so I feel like I know how I can handle the later stages of a 50-mile at this point, which is good. And
what have you been tailing your training to of late? Because you were training for the marathon trials early in the year, and you got a spot.
Yeah.
So, what have you been working on of late?
Honestly, after Comrades, I took a little bit of time. My body took a little bit of time to heal up. Mont Blanc marathon went pretty well. I hadn't done a lot up to that point, and then after Mont Blanc, I was kind of in that mode of like, I've been training for half the year. I'm gonna just kind of just play in the mountains basically, and so that's what I've been doing. I had Steens Mountain Running Camp for 2 weeks. Went out to the Wallowas for a fast packing trip for a couple of days a couple of weeks ago. So I've been getting in some good mountain miles. I've been doing a lot more climbing than I would say I probably normally do, just playing out in the mountains. Nothing
like vertical climbing or scrambling climbing?
Well, actually a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And then the last couple of weeks, I've finally started to get in that mode of like, okay, time to buckle down, get ready for the fall. And so I've been putting in some decent workouts. And body's been feeling really good. The past probably 3-4 weeks, other than at mountain running championships where I felt absolutely horrible. After that, things cleared up, and like I've been feeling good again, and putting in some decent miles and some good workouts. The past probably 2 weeks, I think, been putting in some good workouts.
And do you have sort of a longer ultra season coming up? I mean, is this part of that, or is it varied again over the fall?
It's varied a little bit again, but it's more, I'm doing the rut, so a couple sky races, the rut, Flagstaff, and then capping the year off with the endurance challenge in San Francisco.
Okay.
So I feel like, you know, I wanted to play in the mountains, get some vertical in, and I want to continue that, getting a lot of hill training and a lot of vertical in throughout the fall, kind of getting ready for that San Francisco race. And then of course Warrior Dash is going to be in there as well, so I got to keep that speed up too.
Yeah.
So,
but not a whole lot of specific training for, say, a flat 90K.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like going in. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, because I haven't been doing a lot of flat stuff like I normally would do, like a harder long run like on Friday, and then go out the next day and crank out a 20 miler on the road like in 2 hours. And I haven't been doing that right now, and so that's why I kind of feel like I'm going into this a little bit unprepared, unknown where I'm at. So
one guy who thinks he knows how you're prepared would be Jonas Bud, who has definitely been following you on Strava. Another jack of all trades, was second to you at 100K World Championships. He's been second at UTMB. I mean, like a guy who handles trail and speed, and second at Comrades. I mean,
yeah, no, I've been really impressed with his career. I mean, he seems like he's that guy that's second, you know, all the time. I feel so bad for him, but he's a great athlete. I mean, the fact that he can go from second at UTMB to second at Comrades and then second at World 100K Championships is like, that's amazing range.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
He's also the home. He did take the win here last year.
He
lives here.
He lives here. That does help.
I mean, I'm sure he's got splits from like this tree to that rock.
Yeah, I know.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows exactly where to put his foot, like just to not trip and everything else. So yeah.
Probably got your. Would you key off somebody? Or you're just gonna?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a great person to key off. I mean, he knows the course. He knows, you know, everything about the area. He's the one that I feel like should be pushing the pace if there is anybody. But who knows? Maybe he's going to sit back.
That's not his style.
No, it's not his style. So
he was definitely not in second for most of the 100K World Championships last year. He was way back, or place-wise back.
Yeah. So he may not do that. I don't know. I am going to probably key off of him, because he's going to be a good guy to key off of and stuff. I mean, I know that he can surge late in a race, so I don't want to leave it too long to where he's just starting to roll and I'm getting tired. But yeah, he's definitely a person to look at. I'd say he's probably the favorite because of how much knowledge he has about the course, and also like I've been kind of watching him too. He's been injured since 100K Championships with a stress fracture, and so he's coming into this a little fresher. And so I imagine like he's kind of like mentally he's there, he's ready to roll. And I hear from a couple people around town that he's been cranking out some pretty good races, like shorter races lately around here, getting course records and stuff. So I think he's going to be tough.
Yeah. You've raced around the world in all sorts of disciplines, but do you find there's a big advantage of having people around, a lot of people around cheering for you, like specifically for you? Like here, Jonas, he's in his hometown. You know, there's going to be a lot of people cheering for him.
Yeah.
You know, people will cheer generic. You know, they might know who you are, but
I don't know. I don't think that plays into it as much. I don't know. You get a little bit of a boost, I feel like, from like the bigger crowds and stuff, wherever you hear that roar and you feel that roar of the crowd, and you get a little bit more of an adrenaline rush from that, as opposed to people calling your name specifically. I don't know. Maybe some people do. I don't feel like it. It's I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's awesome when they're out there calling your name, and you feel like you're kind of like hometown hero, sort of.
But you could be on the University of Oregon track on a steeplechase race, and if the crowd's going nuts,
yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Then it doesn't matter as much. So
yeah. This race has this race doesn't have a long history, but Vasaloppet has a long history.
Yeah.
Like, what's it like coming to a course that...
Well, we were talking about that today. Peter was taking us around for a little bit of he took us around and showed us a run and then took us to the finish line and stuff and was explaining some of the history about it and stuff. And apparently, I mean, Sweden as a country, forming as a country, has a connection to this particular course, which is pretty incredible. It goes all the way back to the 1500s. And it wasn't a race back then. The race officially started in 1922. So, I mean, the race has been going 90 years, or almost 90 years. There's a 90? No, not quite 90 yet. Not yet, but it's getting there. Which is, I mean, that's incredible history for any sort of a race. And the fact that, you know, you've had so much time for that race to develop and so much history to come before it and stuff. I love races like this where there's a lot of history, and Comrades is another one like that. We have our own races in the U.S., like Western States, that has a ton of history behind it, much shorter history, but there's still a lot there. Yeah. And I love races with a lot of history and tradition behind them. And for me, it puts a race into that bracket of being a little more special when there's that much history behind a race. And that's cool for me. That's something that I look for in a race, and something that takes a race, you know, from the big jumble of mess of races and puts it out there of like a bucket list race for me. And I'm like, okay, I want to do that one because of that history. So
cool. Well, enjoy your experience here in Mora. And
I will. Yeah, I already am. Looking forward to dinner right now. I think we're going to an Irish pub
in Sweden.
So
let's go do it.
Gotta get a Guinness.
Thanks, Max.
Yeah, thank you.